Charles, what will they say when they're calling him a radical?
Him who?
That's a Supertramp joke.
Oh.
But today we have a Superdope.
Oh my God. Our department, once again, has done a great job, but there's so much material to work with. I mean, this bonehead.
It's totally stupid.
And I don't know how much you've been watching the internet before we just went on, but what they're moving to, and there's the Freedom Tower up there. Maybe we go down this direction. What they're pivoting to, I believe, they being Ray and Kamala Harris doesn't know what she's doing, nor does Biden, is the move to now aggressively go after any critic of the regime as a domestic extremist and liken any critic, or maybe argue that those critics are even worse than Al-Qaeda types of 21 years ago. And that to me is just like everything else they do. It's a department of silliness, but it's dangerous at this point because the movement to restore balance in government and to bring us back towards the constitutional republic that we're supposed to be is a movement that shouldn't have to be led by people who aren't officials of the government. We have a situation here where people, the chief positions of power, the people who have the discretion to make your lives miserable, are people who are hell-bent, it would seem, on destroying this country and destroying any sort of criticism, whether constructive or not. And Kamala Harris, I hesitate to pick on her, but because it's so easy. But yesterday she chaired some meeting where she said, the work of this meeting is to discuss the work of what we're going to do, or just another word salad. People are looking at her like, she's the Vice President of the United States?
It's so embarrassing.
And then today, she is on some show saying that what she's going to do, what the Democrats are going to do, should they take control, that's a nicer picture of the Freedom Tower, should they take control of the Senate, is they're going to eliminate the filibuster. And with that, they're going to pass legislation, who knows what type of legislation, but at a minimum on change voting rights, change abortion rights, and who knows what else they may try to do. And that's the kind of statement, you don't say that quiet part out loud 50 odd days before an election, because that's precisely what is going to motivate people like me and others who are sick and tired of this bullshit. The Biden was supposed to be no malarkey, instead it's all bullshit.
All malarkey.
All the time. I think bullshit's worse than malarkey, but maybe that's the kind of paper you could do as a PhD thesis and get federal funding for that, which is worse. But anyway.
They could do the all malarkey all the time cable news channel.
Right. That's the kind of statement, coupled with Hillary Clinton on today, saying she's very concerned that we've got to restore our democracy and protect our democracy. I don't know what she's talking about.
It's the republic that we've got to restore.
Well, and she and her daughter was saying that Ivanka Trump has gone over to the dark side, and she hasn't spoken to her since since November 2016. I don't think Ivanka Trump.
Whoa, that guy's just going right through.
He stopped.
Oh, it's a stop sign.
Are you going to the
Not a light.
I don't think Ivanka Trump and the Trump family, or any member of the Trump family, even Barron, cares what Chelsea Clinton has to say. It's not like, wow.
I don't believe they were ever friends.
They were actually.
I don't believe
nominal
that.
friends.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I wake up in the morning saying, God, what will Chelsea think of me now?
Right.
Less.
Better not go to the dark side. She's like about to throw Samuel L. Jackson out the window, and she's like, what will Chelsea Clinton think about this?
Right.
I better not do it.
Right, well, and in addition, when you want to bring up the dark side, I mean, that's where the Clintons live.
Exactly.
Right? Maybe we cross them.
Hillary is the female Emperor Palpatine.
Right, I mean, she is the dark side.
Yeah.
So all of this, 20 years ago, 21 years ago.
It's hard to believe, right?
Yeah, this was basically rubble.
And there were people who were killed in Afghanistan last year. I think that guy who got killed and then Alec Baldwin sent some kind of crappy message. That's amazing they can find a bulletproof vest that fits that fat guy. But that guy, I think, was not even born when 9/11 happened, and he was killed in Afghanistan. Talk about
It's horrible.
terrible, yeah.
And Ilhan Omar, who is a despicable human being who belongs back in Somalia, not in Congress.
Or jail.
But AOC decided it would be a good idea to defend her and say that actually the events that occurred on 9/11 are no worse than what has happened in this country.
What?
Well, I mean, you go down the track of people who've never studied in class, and to the extent they have been in class, they're reading comic books, which in theory are textbooks, that blame present inhabitants of America for the destruction of the residents, the Native Americans, and have an unschooled view of how slavery worked and how it's been flourishing ever since Obama was president. I mean, before then as well, but under his watch with Hillary Clinton, as they destabilized the Middle East and uprooted all these existing regimes, what happened is that the poorest in these countries became refugees, many of them, and got sold into slavery. And there are open-air slave markets, large ones, in Libya right now, thanks to Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, Barack Obama, and to a certain extent Donald Trump. He should have done more to stop it.
Yeah, but she's got a Ukraine sticker on her car.
That's right. So, and then there's a new brand of Slim Fast called Dim Fast, which Chris Christie is endorsing. He's out there saying, "Oh,
you're joking."
I'm making it up. Yeah, that is a joke, actually. How did you figure that one out?
I don't know.
But I mean, he got on some program, The View, or not The View, This Week with ABC, and he stated that the Justice Department had no choice but to raid Mar-a-Lago.
Oh.
And this Chris Christie, I mean, if you're going to be the New Jersey lardhead and pretend that you're the honest mirror image of the mafia and you're going to play that way, Jersey style, you don't diss your patron. Right, you don't go, especially dissing somebody who's worth a lot more money than you are, in that way. And he's effectively trying to put a knife in Trump's back right now.
There's another target there.
Yeah, you mean other than the Liberty Freedom Tower?
Right.
But yeah, this is sacred ground here. I mean, I forget, you were in the city or you were in LA?
Oh no, I was here.
Yeah.
You know what? Prior to 9/11, I had been in California with Crest Films, which was a company from New York that moved there, and they were like, "Hey, forget about college, come with us to LA and you can do all this stuff." So I was out in Santa Monica when the Northridge earthquake hit, and I decided that was the universe telling me to go back to college. So I left California and did not return due to the immense earthquake, and just like, why do I want to deal with that? And then after 9/11, I sort of said to myself, well, I guess it doesn't really matter where you are. If your number is up, it's up. And I started going back to LA after that.
Uh-huh. What does BMCC stand for?
I feel like I have heard of it before. Yeah, it's something with, looks like it says SUNY or CUNY, City University of New York.
All these idiots.
Something college. Big moron City College?
Actually, City College back in the day, I don't know what it's like now, it's probably destroyed, but back in the day it really was famed for having exceptionally smart people who really cared to learn as students, and very good teachers. A lot of really important people without much financial backing went through that institution and have made enormous contributions, positive contributions. Unlike Chris Christie, who really, I mean, he's so fucking stupid and pompous. He should go be the dean, certainly not of athletics, the dean of something.
Eating.
Oversee the cafeteria system at some public university in, say, Iowa. But I'm just amazed that he even accepts invitations to go on television. He's so obnoxious and stupid.
Just wanna,
you okay?
Yeah, you sound a little quieter than me. So you talk again?
Here we are again, getting close to. You could not walk through here, obviously, when after 21 years ago today, this was just rubble, smoking rubble.
Yeah. Debris and
people
soot
dying
and everything.
inside of it.
So the major genius Eric Adams has said he doesn't want to release information about EPA air quality until the city can get some indemnity from lawsuits. I mean, isn't that basically saying when you find out the truth, you're going to go crazy and want to sue? So let's just make sure you can't do that before we tell you the truth.
Right. I would have told you that, but you were going to get mad, right? Because that's one of your lines.
Exactly. I thought the truth would upset you.
Yeah. So this is Moody's over here. And that's Wilmer Hale. What do you know?
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, look at that. What does Moody's do again?
They rate securities, debt securities principally.
Why is Wilmer Hale there? They're lawyers.
This is 7 World Trade Center.
Oh my God, the new Building 7. I don't know if I ever realized that before right now.
Yeah, Moody's used to be, I want to say, on Church Street. I don't think this is Church Street. Could be wrong, because I delivered my GE analysis to Moody's.
And what'd they say?
F off.
Yeah, Moody's. I think all of these things, this is West Broadway.
Maybe this is Church.
Well, that's West Broadway. Right, this is different. This is something else. But it doesn't have a sign.
So we'll go towards what, the Oculus?
What street is this, officer?
This right here is Vesey Street.
This one?
This is West Broadway.
West Broadway?
Thank you.
So this and that are West Broadway? That can't be right.
I don't.
Maybe this is just a driveway.
Yeah, could be. Side pocket. Maybe Church was over there. And there's the Freedom Tower. Boy, that is.
Charles, do you know that on September 11th, on Church and Murray, let's go to Church and Murray Street. Do you know how to get there?
No. There's Murray.
Oh, so let's walk over there. So let's see, the buildings were here. The original buildings were over there, and the building that hit the South Tower hit the south face of it. So the engine,
or the plane that did?
The engine shot off this way. There was a jet engine discovered on
Barclay, not Murray.
Church and Murray. Oh yeah, that's Barclay, not Murray.
I think it is up this way though.
All right, well, we'll come back to that later because I don't want to walk away from the building, but we'll go over to the memorial and see what people are doing there. I kind of feel sadder today than I have on previous 9/11s.
Yeah, well, we've told the story before, but then you have a different audience now today than you did last year even, or maybe even last month. So maybe I should tell the story again.
Sure.
What happened. So when I was at the firm, a firm I created with another partner, long story short, I had to have a life insurance policy in effect, and I had to have a blood test to get that done. And being really squeamish, I was like, I want to do this. Can we do this without the blood test? No, you got to do it. So I put it off.
Those are like British cops or something. German, what does that say?
German.
So you put it off?
Until September 11th, 2001.
Oh.
And I had dinner September 10th, Monday night, with my business partner, Chris Brady. You are not, I guess, forgotten. That's nice. And at this fancy Italian restaurant called the name of San Pietro's, with this guy.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Very nice place. And we had dinner with just the two of us with this guy who'd been the president of Jane's Defense Weekly, which is a very important publication that goes through security situations and armaments and other issues globally. And I asked him that night, I said, what's the chance of a major terrorist event happening in Manhattan on September 10th? And he said 100%. So wow. Okay, so the next morning, I would always get to my office early, and we had several offices around the world, but one here in New York. Let's get closer.
Sure.
And so our Irish office is 5 hours ahead, and I was on the phone call. We had some problem with a portfolio company with a bunch of people in Ireland. We had 2 seconds.
Hang on, something's happening to the sound here. For some reason, I'm losing.
Is it because of maybe we should?
Probably too many people using devices over here, but I don't want us to not.
We can maybe view it from afar, I guess.
I don't know what just happened. I just lost audio here.
Total audio?
Well, I don't know if the audience has lost audio, but I'm not able to monitor it anymore for some reason. That's quite disappointing.
Okay. You want to?
This has given us problems in the past. It's this thing. Oh, wait, I think I got it back. Okay, yeah, let's go in.
All right, so careful. So we had a secretary who got in at 8 and stayed till 4, and one who got in at 10 and stayed till 6. And the one who's there at 8 said, "Oh, Charles, you got to take this phone call." Right? It was the nurse, a Philippine male nurse, who said, "Look, I may be a little late for our 9 o'clock appointment. I'm down at the World Trade Center." This is a call at like 8:25 in the morning. And
So it just happened.
well, no, 38. 8. And so I went back to my call, and then the morning secretary said, "You guys drop everything, get off the phone, come in here, we got to watch the TV." And so we watched the one happen, and then the next one happened, and we did nothing else for 3 days.
But watch TV, yeah.
Watch TV, and one of the, this is actually quite heartening. There's so many people here in the rain, somber, not necessarily.
I think it's less than what have been in the past, but still a lot of people.
I'm not sure I've ever been here on the day, but down here. But it's nice. I mean, it's not great weather.
No,
So
it was raining a lot for
It's
most
nice
of the
that
day.
many people would come. It's sad that there would be these 2 gaping holes in Manhattan and so many lost souls. And it's sadder still that if you think about it, we made some tactical advances, but this nation is not as secure today as I think somebody pointed out, some famous person, as it was on September 10th, 2001.
Yeah. And I think that's why I'm saying I feel kind of sad, because not only are we less secure, we are less of a country. I mean, on September 11th, after the horrible event occurred,
Everybody,
there was this amazing
Yeah.
unity that never before or since has existed.
right,
And I guess it made people feel like we could have that, but now we're so far away from that.
well, it doesn't help that the President of the United States, a dimwit,
Yeah.
will get up constantly and say,
Super dope.
super dope, yeah, that 50+% of the country are threats to our democracy. I mean, that's a real way to I think. Unify. Suppose second wedding, what do you look at?
This here of the building, the original building.
It'd be like, your rehearsal dinner for a second wedding. He gets up there, I don't know what Jill's maiden name is, but dumbass is probably
That's a middle name.
A maiden name. And, changing it to Biden was not much of an improvement. Anyway, you get up there and give the speech as the guy who's going to marry your in-law's daughter, and you say, "Thank you so much. This meal sucks. Your family are awful. I'm going to have nothing but trouble with you. You better have paid for this meal. I'm not paying for it, and don't expect to see any of your grandkids." I mean, that's basically
Sounds like Meghan Markle,
Meghan, yeah, Meghan Cackle,
the Duchess of Montecito.
the Duchess of Weirdo. Gosh, it continues down here.
Well, there's that second.
Yeah, maybe let's stay
Monument.
away from the cops.
I think we've got a whole different breed of police officer now as well. I wonder how many people in the NYPD are in there still who were here on 9/11.
Not so much. Well, it's 20 years later.
That's what I
21
mean.
years later, so
A lot of people are going to retire, have died.
there's some more. I don't know if
This looks like firefighters to me with the trumpet.
from another country, though. I think
Maybe.
perhaps.
That's the smallest. Was it a trumpet?
It's not Donald Trump's trumpet. Donald Trump's trumpet would be,
Huge.
50 feet wide. Let's give this guy a little room.
Yeah.
So anyway, the nurse comes in at we're watching after the second plane. He comes into our office.
Stay there.
comes into our office at 9:05, 9:10.
You're
He
very
says,
difficult to direct.
9:05, 9:10, and he says, okay, over here, we'll take the blood. And I said, well, don't you want to understand what just happened? He goes, what happened?
He didn't even know?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, I don't know if I said dude, but let's just assume I said, dude, you are the luckiest man on the planet. Take a look at what happened to where you just were.
Wow.
And he takes our blood, and then he goes on to his next appointment. He stood there for an hour or so.
Wow.
And we were just watching and speculating. And then, I don't know how well you remember this, but the second building went down, and then reports came of something happening at the Pentagon. And then, people started speculating. We had, out of 15 people in our firm, we had 3 in the air. 2 who had left from LaGuardia to go to Denver just beforehand. Okay, and 1 who was in Geneva trying to get back to the United States who was airborne.
Oh, man.
So that's like
How long
20%
did that
of the
take that
firm.
guy to get back?
A week.
Wow.
Yeah. And the other guys, so what was interesting is the other guys had gone into, gotten on the plane. We had an investment out there in Colorado they were going to do something with. And they noticed there were a bunch of Middle Eastern people in the same section where they were. And all planes after a certain point were
Ground stop.
ground stop. So they went, I think, to Detroit.
Oh, the best.
And they were not quarantined, but they were segregated, and they were told, yeah, you can continue on, but you're going to have to stay here until the all clear.
Right.
And when the time came to be all clear, the Middle Eastern guys were gone.
Oh.
Suggesting that there were more than just the people we knew about or know about involved with this plot. And I'm of a school of thought that even for the bottom half of the class, if you measure it intellectually, we have a right to understand the threats in this country. And some idiot, what's that guy, Clapper, Ray,
Hayden.
Comey, you go on down a long list, some collection of idiots who want to go up the stairs?
Let's go up there and then we'll get a good
Right.
view of the crowd. But it looks like it's police blocked off. We have to go down here.
That's fine. So,
Sniffing.
So the idea that these clucks
Whoa.
are going to guard whatever truths they may have discerned for themselves, and that only they have a right to know. They can let into the public domain what may have happened. What that does is that responds to the ability.
Oh, man. So, see, this is the problem when I was on it. We've been off here. We've been off on. Man, I love this thing, but it's making me so pissed off. We've had terrible audio problems. Not your fault. I don't understand. Maybe, I don't know why this thing getting so interfered with. Let's just make sure we're back here. I gotta. Man, that's really annoying. I should have just brought the heavy thing, I guess. Come on now. Why has this stuff got to be so difficult, Charles?
Don't know.
It's not going to cooperate. Well, all right, the sound appears to be good, so we'll keep going.
All right.
But there was a suggestion that the people, they're the only ones who can know.
Right, and so the notion that these wizards of being weaklings or worse should sit on top of what the true threats that we face denies America the benefit of many, many minds and many, many eyeballs, all of whom may not necessarily be as well credentialed as the people in these services, but that doesn't mean that they might not have the people thinking about this some very interesting and helpful suggestions. A lot of times I've found when you deal with somebody who's a supposed expert on a topic, they often get trapped in what they've said in the past, and
They don't want to hear your input because you're not an expert.
right, and they're dismissive.
Yep.
And it's often the quiet voice or somebody who's looking puzzled in a room.
Alternate viewpoint.
Who doesn't speak up, who needs to be encouraged by the maestro or whatever you call the person in charge of the discussion to say, hey, you're looking kind of puzzled. What's concerning you? You know, and very frequently that person will say something you're like, whoa, I hadn't thought of that.
Right.
And then you go to the expert and say, you know, why didn't you think of that? You know, say, well, I was too busy at these fancy meals.
Well, I think there is that
honorary
kind of
degrees.
bias. We were discussing this on John Cullen Investigates Friday night, that a lot of people have basically been coming to his information now, including some real experts who are like, how the hell did you people miss this? And Cullen was talking about exactly what you're talking about, this expert bias, where if you don't have a PhD after your name or a degree from some Ivy League thing, they don't want to listen to you. And people can still see that episode on Crowdsource the Truth if they go to subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. And Charles, tonight, I'm going to be running a very special 9/11 episode. I've done a new interview with John Kiriakou.
Wow.
Yeah, and you may recall, John is the guy who was a CIA analyst and officer who went on to ABC News and discussed details of the torture program at Abu Ghraib, which he was then prosecuted for. He's the first person to be prosecuted under, I forget what it was, but revealing stuff about the CIA.
Espionage Act?
Maybe it was the Espionage Act, but this particular aspect of it. And so I just did an interview with John yesterday or the day before, and we're putting it out tonight. Sponsors will be able to see it on subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth or patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. 8 p.m. tonight, world premiere of this special, where, you know, a lot of people were very upset with John Kiriakou because he came on the show in 2018 with Kevin Shipp and Bill Binney, and we were talking about all the stuff that these guys have revealed about the deep state. But then when it came to 9/11, people were very upset with the traditional, you know, John basically believes the main story there. And so everybody presumed that he was a liar and still working for the CIA. But now I've come to know John pretty well, fairly well, over the past 4 years. And I just have not gotten the sense that he's been lying. I think he's convinced that what he believes is true. And so in this interview that people will be able to see tonight, I start exploring how he could possibly be brought to believe that this is true, and how this insidious social engineering is working not just on us, we the people, but judges, lawyers, law enforcement people, people within the intelligence agencies.
Right. Well, if you haven't ever traveled much, and most Americans have not, and if you don't know much about the Middle East or politics or finance, then this is a big topic to try to wrap your arms around. Most Americans, even those who say they're expert on Middle East affairs, have not read the Quran and related important religious documents. They just simply haven't. They don't understand necessarily the fine points of, I'm not saying I do, of the different sects of Islam and why Shia and Sunni people don't get along so well, to put it mildly.
I think we don't understand that at all.
Can we, I guess.
Well, before we do, let's just remind ourselves, I think this is a piece of something that was in the building, isn't it? What is this
Cunning
thing?
sphere.
Sculpture stood, oh yeah, no, it was right down there in between the original two buildings.
Right.
And it was kind of, you know,
Look at that.
they left it with all the damage and everything.
It's amazing that it actually is still around.
Yeah, it says this sculpture stood as a symbol of world peace through world trade at the center of Austin J. Tobin Plaza between the Twin Towers. The Port Authority commissioned Fritz Koenig to create this 25-foot bronze sculpture, originally titled Grobe, I don't know, something complicated in German.
Yeah. I think it is definitely important to remember Gross Kugel Kariati, something like that, which may mean big sphere or something like that. But obviously it's important to remember the people who died. Big French company.
But isn't that an insurance company?
An insurance company, yes.
I don't trust them at all.
Somebody you know knows the chairman very well. Not me. I've met him, but somebody else you know. Anyway, it is fit and proper that we remember the people who died. I'm sure you have people you know who died. I did as well. But actually, another thing to think about here is the people who were emotionally affected by this. And I have a friend who, and not because he's a trickster, has never been able to work.
sorry, let's clear out from this.
He's never been able to work.
We have something else over here we should look at. Why has he never been able to work?
The trauma. He was, he
Oh.
was down here, and he's never been able to work again.
Well, I'm thinking about my friend's mom, a guy I went to grade school and high school, a guy named Timur Khan, worked at Cantor Fitzgerald. And the funny thing is, so I was 2001, I guess I was 29, and 29, something like that. But I was kind of coming back in touch with people from high school, and Timur was one of those people. I had started seeing him around, like at bars, and it was like, "Hey, how you doing?
Right.
Let's go to dinner." Because I had seen him at somebody's law school graduation party. That's what it was, and we kind of rekindled our friendship. And I remember I ran into him in a bar, and we were hanging out, me and a bunch of my friends, and him and a bunch of his friends. And then shortly after that, he died in the building. And I think about his mom and his family. Obviously, they're all still alive.
So this, just to put this in perspective, so I'm sorry for your loss and for his loss, but this is only 16 acres, right? Think of that. I thought it was much bigger than that. 16 acres. Washington Square Park's 9.75
Wow.
acres.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously with all the buildings in it. So where the buildings were is now a park, and there are new buildings behind it, basically.
Right.
And in the far distance there, you have the Jenga building,
Oh yeah, where the bed and bath guy jumped off of. Oh right, there it is.
which is a horrible situation.
Have they found out anything more about that?
I think that is a business that is, it's a gigantic floating turd.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's never going to make it back
To what it was.
Never.
Yeah, because Amazon has destroyed all those type of businesses, I guess.
Right. Right. In the distance there, you see, I don't think it's Wall Street per se, but yeah, that might be Exchange Place down there. Wall Street's kind of through this big building here. Another story, I have a friend who lived in the Upper West. I don't know, he was in school. One of his kids was in, fancy school with one of the Cantor Fitzgerald people, and he was supposed to be in the World Trade Center up at breakfast at 8 o'clock.
Oh wow.
That day.
And for windows on the world?
I guess, but for whatever reason, I don't think we can go down that way. But
I think this way.
it seems like it's blocked off over there. See?
No, we can go around this side of it. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure.
So, so he didn't go.
That's
Missed
good.
the meeting, and then hears about it, and rushed down because there were other people who were supposed to be colleagues of his who were supposed to be in the meeting, and he came. Eventually, he had to walk there and back, and he lived up in the Upper West Side. So when he came back to his rather large apartment, he was covered in ash and whatever. And he went into the shower, his wife says, and then cleaned himself off, and then cleaned every aspect of the apartment for like 10 hours.
Because he had just brought in so much dust.
Well, he was just obsessively. I think it was obsessive compulsion behavior. And it was
But even so, when you saw people that day, you've never seen anything like
yeah.
it. Just like they looked like statues because they were like gray. That smell was so distinctive, Charles. It was like burning people and concrete
and suddenly it was quiet. There was no airplane noise, whatever. Actually, we had the same. We had people. We were on 55th and Madison Park. And around, I'd say 11, when we walked out to see what was going on, when it seemed like there was something going on with the towers.
There's a firefighter. Hang on, you see this guy
Yeah.
here? I don't
Let's
want to
leave
bother
him in
him.
peace.
I don't want to bother him, but look at how sad that guy looks.
He needs his peace.
I'm not going to bother him. I
know.
just noticed he's almost like he's reading something.
He's probably remembering
His friends who died. That is sad.
But we saw there, we would go out periodically. We saw for beginning at around, I want to say 11:30. And I could be wrong. We can go down.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, what did I? Oh, you have it. Thanks. I was like, I lost my umbrella.
No, you didn't.
Sorry.
That's another production credit.
I know, yeah.
I'm a grip.
You are.
So we saw a steady stream of people coming up Madison Avenue in shock, covered.
Yeah.
We're kind of walking like this.
No, everybody was in shock, like a zombie.
Yeah. And then you would see, when the subways eventually got running, you would see people constantly coming downtown with pictures of their missing people.
Oh
Have you
yeah,
seen
that was
so-and-so?
later in the day. Yeah.
Well, the subways weren't running.
It was kind of like two separate. The day was sort of. So first it hit, right, and everybody was kind of like, "What the hell?" Then the second one hit, and it was like, "Oh man!"
Right.
And then when it collapsed, everything changed,
Right.
and that was.
Right. And actually, so that was on a Tuesday. I think I went back up. I stayed in New York. We can go through there, I guess.
Let's go listen to the bagpipes. As much as I don't like them, today is the day we should listen to them.
Sure. It's poignant.
Yeah, it's good for this.
And
Bill Barr is a big piper. Did you know that?
Piker.
Piper, bagpiper.
And Piker.
I guess he's
Ceremonial
Scottish
unit.
or something.
The sad thing is that we're going to be doing this for the rest of our lives, and it's not clear that we're going to be better off as a result of all this.
Well, and in particular this year, you know, I mean, I guess last year it had already happened, but I don't know if people really realized the full extent of it. But now that Afghanistan was, to call it a total bust is an understatement. It was worse than a bust. If they had never gone there at all, we'd be better off with regard to Afghanistan.
Go around that one?
It made it terrible. Let's just see if we can get eyes on the piper.
Sure, Joe. Jason, let's go around the corner.
Yay! Thank you, FDNY!
Just concerned about the guy with the backpack.
I didn't see him.
Oh, number 5 World Trade Center.
Huh. It's amazing that 20 years later, this thing is still a work in progress. Oh, what's this? Is this a hearse?
No.
Doesn't the roof look weird?
It's a very, I mean, it looks hearse-ish.
Home of World Trade Center 5. I don't really know what that's going to do.
So, do you want to?
Well, let's not leave the complex. I'll tell you what, Charles. Today is the day I think we're going to go into that Oculus thing. I saw people going in there without masks. I think that's just an old sign. Anyway, sorry, you were in the midst of telling us a story when we happened upon the piper.
Well, yeah, I just said that the number of people who, oh yeah, so on the Friday I went back up.
Somebody's got to pay that piper, Charles.
Somebody's got what?
Got to pay that piper.
And so I was living up in a place called Rhinebeck, New York, which is very left-leaning. And what had happened was entrepreneurs had gotten these flags together that you could put on the side of your car. And so, you know, out of nowhere, every car had one of these flags driving around, including up in Rhinebeck.
The American flag?
Yeah, but a special thing that you could attach to the side of your car and so it would flutter and all this kind of stuff. And so I took the kids and others to dinner on Friday night in a restaurant. And this is, you know, professors from Bard College go or hang out there. Bard is one of its biggest financial backers is George Soros and really left-leaning stuff. And suddenly, out of nowhere, people just started singing "America the Beautiful." You know, in a crowded restaurant.
Right, and I mean, here we are now, hot on the heels of a time where people are going to try to tell you that the Star Spangled Banner is racist or something.
Right.
And here we've got firefighters playing it.
Yep.
It's just terrible what the waste of life, the waste of
Well, and the refusal to look at how it came to pass. You know,
Right.
what errors led to this coming together? Who may have been responsible for those errors?
well, how
And
about
we
what
learned-
Trump said the other day that people haven't figured it out and the news was laughing at him.
Well, I mean, when you go back into it and you understand that Bill Clinton was very close friends at Georgetown with, I think it's
Turkey al-Faisal,
right,
the
and
intelligence guy
Right.
for
right, and I have a
Saudi.
friend who is also friendly with him. He's a guy in his 70s. Let's just wait a second.
very smart. I mean, he wrote a whole book in English that I just got.
But I wrote a column for the Washington Times where I said that the situation in Saudi Arabia was not as secure as everybody claims it is, because,
Secure how? What do you mean?
well, the population of Saudi Arabia is, from memory, it's around 26, 27 million. It could be a little bit more than that. But it's like anything else. The population of America is 320 million, but what's the population of Wyoming? And what if all the oil and gas was in Wyoming? Right? So in the eastern provinces, where the bulk of the reserves are based, the Shia population, the Saudi government doesn't want you to understand how big it is and how seething it is. And there is a very serious problem within Saudi Arabia as to how the Sunni leaders keep control of the Shia people inside the oil-bearing region. And so I wrote an article about that, and my friend sent it to this guy in the royal family, and he
To Turkey?
yeah, I don't know whether it was Turkey or somebody like him, and back came this response saying I was wrong, that they didn't have my facts right.
Oh.
That's why I knew that I was absolutely right. Here's Uber.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, so when you go back into, you've got a president who's friendly with an influential Saudi, you've got Republicans and Democrats taking Saudi money, lots of Saudi money. This is, I think, some kind of ceremony.
What's going on
Maybe
here?
we should stay away from this.
Well, but we'll go to the entrance around the side here.
I think they're talking. Well, they're reading the list of names. Just be quiet.
J. Houston, Timothy Robert Hughes, William Christopher Hunt, Zutu Ibis, Michael Patrick Eichen, Daniel Ibrahimovic, Christopher Noble Ingracia, Paul
3,000 some odd names to be read there.
So sad.
And look, they're right in the shadow of this thing.
Eric Hans.
So sad.
It is. Yeah, everybody coming out of there has no mask, so we'll just go in.
What about the?
Nah, it's an old sign. Because they've lifted it citywide. This guy brought his iMac. Good thing, you never know when you might need. They have laptops, you know.
It's like in Cairo when I landed once. There's a guy bringing home a refrigerator, carting it up the stairs like this in the Cairo airport.
That's crazy.
The duty free. I think I'll bring home a refrigerator.
I mean, when have you seen somebody walking around with a 32-inch iMac in a bag?
Let's just go to the side here.
Sure.
I mean, see the scene.
Have you been in here before?
Long time ago, not recently.
It's an odd thing.
It does make you understand how insignificant the average human being is. You look at some structure like this, it makes everybody seem like an ant.
Kind of gives you vertigo.
Yeah, and also because that's going down.
That's really, it's a weird.
I'll buy you a McDonald's if you want.
No thanks. I mean, the restaurant or something to eat there. 'Cause I could deal with being a franchisee. You're very generous, Charles. You don't have to buy me a whole McDonald's.
I'm not going to do that.
Is that McDonald's? Is there McDonald's in here?
I know how much you like McDonald's, and I was just trying to inject a note of levity.
So has this complex, I mean, I don't even think that we can tell. Like, is this invigorating the...
Well, this is, I believe, isn't this more or less? This was destroyed. In the
Right, this is new. When it was new a few years ago, I came down here and did a video from here when it opened. I think it was, I can't remember if that was before or after the pandemic. But yeah, that's new. And then this whole mall, everything here is,
here
obviously
you could
new.
be in Singapore, right? I mean, this
Yeah.
is just. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's good that we do this, but did you get your Uggs polished up, Jason?
I've never had any Uggs.
Or you can buy a bed.
What did you think about that, Charles, when at the Live golf tournament, Trump said that nobody really got to the bottom of 9/11, and then news people laughed that was ridiculous?
Well, I think Donald Trump is right. I mean, that's what history's all about. Stuff comes to light as time passes, and you learn more and more of the context and contours of what may have actually happened. And, we have some information validly is kept for public view. Are we going to lose signal on that?
No, I've never been down this section. I didn't even know they had this. Maybe this wasn't open the last time I was here.
So that's really the process of history. It's not like you stand there on September 12th, 2001, you say, this is what happened. Don't ever bring the subject up again. I mean, of course, people...
But also, I mean, it was just 2016 where they released the 28 pages. If people don't know what I'm talking about, they go to 28pages.org, and that was previously completely redacted. Revelations about the Saudi royals. What is this? Strangers Project. Revelations about the Saudi royals and them being involved, guarantors for apartments for some of the hijackers, and there are still names redacted from that 28 pages.
Right.
So I think it's kind of like inarguable that Trump was right when he said they never got to the bottom of it.
And query, will they?
Well, they certainly don't want to, and it's a lot of the same people.
Did a woman buy her pants?
Yeah, there was something going on over
discount?
there. I don't know.
Like
Were there pants involved in that
If you want the
outfit?
pockets, that's going to be a little bit extra.
You put that on layaway. But, I mean, this is the same people who, don't want an objective third party to look at this material that the DOJ stole out of Donald Trump's house. Incidentally, did you notice that the suggestion for the special master that the DOJ gave is the same judge that they used as a special master against James O'Keefe?
I did not
Yeah, they're picking special masters who are basically
do what they're told.
their people, right, who are going to just do whatever. And, the fact that they objected to it at all, it just goes back to the same thing. If you haven't been cheating, why would you object to a third party, unbiased, examining the results of anything?
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but Clarice Feldman is, and she's also a very gifted writer. And she has a nice piece, and she calls the pieces in...
Clarice's pieces, right.
Clarice's pieces, and she has a piece in basically saying that before we waste a lot of time, she doesn't say it this way, on minutia, or as Fabian likes to say, minutias.
He's somewhere seething in French right now.
No, he's a good man.
I will get that, Charles. We can go up there, I think.
Well, and also a Liberty cancer.
I think that's
We'll go
maybe the atrium over there. No,
where you
does
get
this
food or something. Yeah.
I don't know.
But what she makes the excellent point that look, before we discuss particulars of the raid, let's understand whether the search warrant should have been issued in the first place.
Exactly.
And that's and she argues that actually
It shouldn't.
based on her experience, and she has many decades of experience, I think, certainly as a lawyer, and I want to say in the Justice Department, could be wrong in that. She says that it's her view that the Justice Department's ploy will not work, and the appeals court will not grant what the Justice Department wants.
Oh,
That's
I
her view.
agree, but that doesn't matter because it's all about, it's timing and everything.
Push it past November
This
8th.
is all lawfare, and they know what's going to happen. I mean, Barr, he's getting all exercised like that because he's like, it's Jeb Bush. You're never going to be president. This is not the way our scheme is supposed to work.
Are you feeling monarchical?
Burger King. But they have crushed a building next to that. That wasn't a standing
Window. Oh.
solitary thing previously. Yeah, there was a building next to that that's gone.
Right.
Oh wait, are we trapped in here now?
No, come. Oh, we can get out that way.
Oh yeah.
You want to go over to Wall Street or
Sure.
stay in this complex?
Maybe let's stay in the complex. We'll go back through and look at it from different angles and
All right.
see different stuff. And You know what? I saw Jeremy Piven on the street yesterday.
Oh, really?
I didn't say
He's
anything
funny.
to him though. Yeah, he was.
He has ADHD, I think.
Well, we would
And
get
other
along.
problems.
He was holding court with a bevy of beautiful women, as rich, famous people are prone to do. I should have discussed mercury toxicity with him. He was,
Very sick.
well, he was in some play, and then he missed the play because he went into the hospital for mercury poisoning, and somehow the newspapers were slamming him, saying, this is nonsense. It's like, why is it nonsense? The guy had a very high mercury level. I mean, he was like twice as high as me, and he said it was from eating too much sushi, but I bet if I got into a conversation with him, he probably had dental fillings, maybe had them removed by somebody who's not an expert at that. That's actually the number one way you get mercury toxicity. But it's a real thing, and I don't understand how, like, they decide what they think is something that's worthy of your attention or what's real. Like, nothing is based on science. It's just whatever mood they get into.
Right.
So there's a lot of international tourists here lately.
Good. Thanks for coming here. Please buy a lot of stuff. That's a nice view.
Yep. Maybe let's head over to the atrium
What's the atrium?
inside the World Financial Center.
Oh, okay. The scene of our first meeting.
Yeah. Well, the interior of it. People have had a chance to see that now, so that's good.
I like this effect. There should be more areas like this, frankly, with restaurants on the side. So you actually really use the city center. You don't have enough of that.
What's this coming soon?
But back on Saudi Arabia for a second.
Yeah.
We had made, for our successes liberating Kuwait, we nonetheless had made a lot of mistakes. And many in the Bush family and Democrats took money, investment money, sovereign wealth fund money, from the Middle Eastern states, Saudi Arabia, UAE, from these sovereign wealth funds. And just to give people a sense of what that is, if you get people who are trained to make investments, who really know how to do it, not AOC or FOS as I like to call it, full of shit, but I mean people who really understand how to think through investing, and that the right way to start is not with the upside but with the downside, to make sure you realize how much. Let's not go past.
That'd be quicker, yeah.
Well, I just don't want to.
Yeah. He dropped something.
If
Took
you,
money from the sovereign wealth
well,
fund.
if you marry up real professionals who know what they're doing, those real professionals, depending on the investment style that they're trying to do, if they're trying to buy big companies, the more money, the better. And the biggest pot of big money is in these sovereign wealth funds, which are virtually impossible to tap into, because most everybody around the sovereign wealth funds understands just how valuable a decision by a sovereign wealth fund is to commit to a fund. I mean, a government saying, all right, I trust Jason Goodman with $1 billion, or take Jared Kushner with $2 billion.
That's a lot.
And the way they trust it, when you put the money into one of these funds, you have very limited recourse. When Jared Kushner's people call you up,
limited recourse?
the way it works is you sign a binding document that says, you commit on my demand to give me $2 billion over time. And when I say you've got to give me, you can't ask for $2 billion all at once typically, but when I say I want $100 million, you've got to give it to me in 10 days.
Wow.
And or whatever the document.
Has Saudi
costs.
ever invested $2 billion like that with a?
I don't know. Is the answer to the question. But the point is, back in that time frame, sovereign wealth funds. Was that same person I saw before? Sovereign wealth, straight ahead of us. Sovereign wealth funds. To get a sovereign wealth fund into your fund in 1992 was a big deal. And what would happen is, once you crack one of them,
right,
there's a community of.
It's like social proof.
Right, and they.
Oh crap! Look at that.
What? The tank?
Crazy vehicle.
The others, this Mubadala group, which I don't think is a particularly good sovereign wealth fund, but they announced that they might invest in GE just when I said it was a very bad idea. I actually tried to warn the chairman of the investment fund not to do it, but I think they went ahead with some form of investment. So cracking in there, what happens is you get that kind of money into an up-and-coming investment firm like Carlyle, and suddenly the general partner of Carlyle goes from being a wealthy guy to being a multi-billionaire. Because if you have that money coming your way, and if you've got really good talent in your firm, you should be able to multiply that money and get a nice rate of return. Look at all those flags.
Oh yeah, let's actually, sorry to be so all over the place, but yeah, so sovereign wealth managing $2 billion for Saudi, that's pretty good for Jared.
But in general, that tactic where you take politically connected former national leaders and you put them together. Paul Talty.
That's nice with the flowers.
And the various heroes.
Yeah, I mean, 343 members of the FDNY died. That was more died on 9/11 than had cumulatively died every day of operation of the New York City Fire Department up until then.
Wow.
So right here, Charles, everybody was in this one and the other one. So much stuff went on that day. All these people. Oh look, bomb squad.
Right. Whoever, I think it's Maya Lin. Is she the one who designed this? I think it is. The Vietnam Wall in Washington D.C. And she truly is a genius. And this is a living monument.
I really wanted them to build it back the way it was, not on the same spots, one floor bigger. Yeah, that's what I would have done, is I would have put this memorial up on the 111th floor of each building so that you had to go up there and be there and think about what would you do if everything changed in 1 second right now.
Right. And the other thing I'd be doing is I'd be asking anybody who should have known what was going on, or letting anybody know in Saudi Arabia and elsewhere who should have known and who should have helped stop this, what was going on, that if you want to be part of the civilized world going forward, you're going to produce a credible investigation and show us everybody who was behind this. Of course, you couldn't do that very easily. So you just have to say, well, we'd like to give you various people who are running the country.
That's the thing. I mean, it's difficult. We got to be careful where we go with this conversation. Hang on a second. Because YouTube has decided that if you have any ideas that differ at all from the official decree.
At what time?
Huh?
Because doesn't the official decree change all the time?
Well, right. But in other words, if you challenge the official story of 9/11, I think they can throw you off for that.
Right.
But I think that you and I have certain understandings of that day that are different.
Right.
And I think there's a reason why nobody in the Saudi Arabian government is providing anybody who was responsible, because if I started listing the names, we'd get thrown off of YouTube.
Right. Gonna wait here. Look, nice.
But
those are Orthodox Jews?
Hasidic, right?
What's the difference between Orthodox and Hasidic?
Orthodox Jews more like Ben Shapiro, somebody who wears normal clothing but a yarmulke and keeps kosher. Hasidic Jews, I think, are the guys in the black jackets with the big hats and all that. I don't really know what the difference is, other than that.
I'm convinced we're going to see an ancestry ad one day. My entire life, I thought I was Jewish. In fact, I'm Italian.
Maybe.
You do love cooking Italian food.
It's true. And eating it. I don't know, Charles, I was watching this Charlie Sheen movie last night. I wasn't even aware of it before last night, but in 2017, I think it's just called 9/11, and it's a fictional movie about people in the building on 9/11 who get stuck in the elevator and how they deal with it. It had probably 2 or 3 sections where I was like, wait a minute, this got just past 10 on the cheese scale. But overall, I have to say it was a touching film, well acted, a good idea for a movie, because it was a bit like Lifeboat in that the whole thing takes place basically inside this elevator, and it's not this like grand, sweeping, location-filled movie. but the performances, I can't believe that Charlie Sheen can still stand up, let alone act, but he is, I think, a very good actor.
Oh, sure. I think he does great. I mean, he's a good comedic actor, too.
Well, this was a very serious movie, but I mean, it made you think about that. Like I said, even though it was a fictional story, it's the kind of thing where there had to be, you know, literally thousands of stories like that we'll never know of people's individual tragedies as they were stuck in there. Pretty terrible.
It is indeed. Which way do you want to go?
Well, I'm trying to get over there, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll sort of head up this way and see if we can get in there. Yeah, I mean, Joe Biden's disastrous performance in Afghanistan was just a period at the end of the sentence.
Is there anything he's done that's positive? I mean, generally, you know, an important guy, you can find one thing.
How could you have made that worse, though? The
We'll
departure
find out.
from Afghanistan.
We're going to find out. And what about North Korea announcing that they're irreversibly a nuclear power in the last 24, 48 hours?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah. That's not good.
No. See, and the thing that's good about a president like Trump, and I would say that there were aspects of Reagan's presidency that were like Trump in that they were not, although Reagan was a politician, you know, after he was an actor, and even while he was an actor, he was the president of the Screen Actors Guild.
Right.
Then he was the governor of California.
Spokesman for GE.
But they do say, certain accounts I've seen of Ronald Reagan say that to some extent he was a regular guy.
He was.
And that the way that he broke through with Gorbachev was he invited him to the White House for dinner and just like treated him like a house guest at dinner. And everyone's like, oh, you can't do that, and diplomatic protocol and blah, blah, blah. And it's like you always say, you know, all these damn experts who tell you, it's like, if you know so much, why is this problem still here? We're going to try it my way.
Right.
And that's what I like about the Jared book. There's more stuff coming in there that I don't believe him about.
Right.
And because we're in the coronavirus section of it now. But it does ring true that he and Trump and the whole Trump administration would take a start-up business approach. I mean, the book reads like Trump treated the presidency essentially like an episode of The Apprentice, and I mean that in a complimentary way, not a negative way, and because he set up teams and put those teams in competition.
Right.
And that got good results.
No.
So this thing is Brookfield Plaza. I mean, it's basically just a mall,
Brookfield Place.
but they have the atrium in there, and it's cool.
This in here?
Isn't it? Is this it? Oh no,
It says Brookfield
It's this
Place.
next thing. It's this next thing. This probably connects to it somehow, but I mean, all of this is new, so I'm not really that.
We can get you.
Actually, I think, yeah, you could have just walked in through there.
We
But
can?
we go here, it's fine.
You want a bread hot dog? That's why.
No,
2?
none.
Jason, you got such a following. You don't want the people to know your true love of hot dogs. Where are the Gucci salespeople on the cardboard
On the
boxes?
sidewalk, right. I don't know. Is that an entrance? Yeah.
And there's Louis Vuitton. You would think that we could go buy one of them on the street
Return it.
and try to return it for
Yeah,
store credit.
yeah.
Let's see
Look
what
at
happens.
this. Echo Umbrella Dryer. Wow, that's fancy, Charles.
My umbrella's not wet.
Neither is mine, but I mean, that's...
Now these are some expensive stores.
But you know what? This feels like Vegas to me. It's like they're bringing Vegas to New York.
You should have a whole bunch of people here yelling at you. What are you doing in this building?
Yeah, the Winter Garden. That's what I'm talking about. This.
Gucci. Gucci. This is, I think, where we did meet, right here.
Yeah. I don't know. For whatever reason, I've always really liked this atrium.
I mean, this could be, it's nice, but this could basically be in Dubai. Got the palm trees.
Yeah. Well, but this
Ferragamo.
thing existed before Dubai. Dubai was a bunch of desert. When did they build Dubai as it is today?
They expanded a lot in the
2000s,
1995 time. Yeah, after that. It was already, I was there in 1997. It was not tiny.
It was
but
like a tent and 4 camels.
No. But I was in Vail in 1969 when there was no main lodge. Excuse
Whoops.
me.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So they've had concerts in here and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we met one of these tables right
Yep.
here. 8,000 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Should we go out that way, or?
There's something else. Maybe I've told you this. You know, on September 11th, 2001, well, let me take a step back. At the end of 2000, beginning of 2001, Canon, the camera company, they came out with a 3D lens for their most popular digital camera at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I found out about it. Well, actually, they didn't come out with it. It was a prototype that they were testing. And I forget how I found out about it, but I mean, you know, it was 2001. The internet, it was around, but it was pretty primitive. And Canon had an office on Long Island in the industrial park
Zone.
Yeah, and so I got the phone number for that, and I just started dialing like 516-555-0001, 0002, 0003, until somebody would answer, and somebody answered, and I said, hey, I'm calling about this 3D lens, and they're like, yeah, I got 3 of them here. We're looking for somebody to test them, and I was like, ding! So I got into a car and got over to Canon right away, got the lens, shot some 3D videos with it, and Canon loved it. And they had hired me they took one of my videos and used it as a test at the as a demo at the National Association of Broadcasters.
Wow.
They paid me to go to the National Association of Broadcasters convention and stand there and talk to people about the lens and show this video that we made and whatever. And that went super well, and they really loved it. And so the conversation became, we're going to hire 21st Century 3D to shoot the Canon demo for this Canon 3D lens. Right. I was like, hey, this is great.
You're
About
there.
to get, let's look at these yachts.
You're shopping with the proceeds?
Yeah.
From what,
And then so the meeting for how we're going to hire Jason to do this great Canon 3D movie was scheduled for September 12th,
Oh boy.
2001. And so it never happened. And then, I mean, you remember how business got reconfigured after September 11th. Canon said that they were, you know, sort of reconfiguring or redeciding what they were going to do about all this, and then that lens never got released. This was like, among the 3D world, people went crazy. They made something like 8 or 9 of them. And then I remember the guy who I was dealing with, Canon was a fantastic company to deal with. And I was like, Joe, I got to get one of these lenses. I'll buy it, I'll pay for it. He's like, look, no, we can't let them out because there's all these laws about how we have to offer repairs and warranty and stuff. So there were 9 of these lenses, and as far as I know, they are tucked away in some Indiana Jones style warehouse in Japan, never to be seen again. And then when I went to Japan, the Japanese engineer who had created the lens invited me to lunch and wanted to know if I had any ability to get one of these lenses, because he also wanted it.
That's funny.
So it's very sought after, but as far as I know, none exist anymore.
So which one is yours?
Yeah, right, I
Big
wish.
Sky?
Charles, if
Don't
I
tell
owned one
me.
of these
Don't tell
boats,
Mom.
you'd never,
See you again.
right, you could land your helicopter on one of them, but, oh yeah,
There's the
but I would be
Statue of
on
Liberty.
it constantly.
You see that garbage scow over there?
Whoops, no
That's
wait, I'm
it.
still trying to get the Statue of Liberty, that's all right. Garbage scowl.
I'm making that up, but there's a Joe Biden monument to Malarkey, that boat filled with garbage.
Malarkey, the SS Malarkey.
Very quiet.
But think about that. Obviously, it was a huge tragedy. People died in the building, and then once we moved past that, it just changed the trajectory of everybody's life in so many ways that we'll never know.
Yeah. And then the bloodthirsty headlong rush.
Should we go that way?
Yeah, whatever you want. Maybe not on the water because it'll be probably quieter. The bloodthirst rush into Afghanistan,
Right.
Afghanistan.
And
I
Iraq?
don't. Well, first it was Afghanistan. In September, I remember about a week or so after September 11th, I was supposed to go to Ireland, and I want to say either a Monday morning or something like that. And I lived 100 miles north of Manhattan. The car came to pick me up, and as we were going, down the highway, the news came over, and I said, "All right, just take me back. I'm going to fly tonight." I thought it was another one. Then I made it over to Ireland, and I was having a dinner outside in a nice pasta place in Dublin where I used to go, and when the bombs started flying into Afghanistan.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have necessarily gone there.
I don't think we should have.
Well, I don't know that, but what I'm saying is I think whatever plan we should have had was a plan that might have used overwhelming force against the actual perpetrators of whoever did this.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm not sure we know.
well, right. I was like, you got to look inside the Situation Room.
Right. Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, George W. is sitting there going, first step, I'm going to nuke myself.
No, it was Dick Cheney's like. "Arr, arr." You Google Dick Cheney. There's so many pictures of him like this. It's like this. What's something wrong with the guy?
You show him his good side.
Right.
Here's my good side.
Totally different breath of air.
That's what I'm.
Guy's out of his mind, Charles.
I know. Now this is all new. I don't know if this.
Well,
was,
they built all these apartments. I mean, I don't know who is wanting to move down here.
It's very nice actually.
Well,
Keep going that way.
yeah, but
But it's like you could be in Houston,
yeah, I mean, you're totally far away
or
from
as they
everything.
say in New York, Houston. And I don't know if you've been here in the winter, but it's freaking cold here because you get the wind whistling up and down.
Did you see that the original editor of Rolling Stone magazine said that the members of the Rolling Stones look like Lord of the Rings characters when they're on stage now? That little garden
funny.
reminded me of Lord of the Rings. It is, yeah,
That
but
is.
there's like, you know.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, if you were to
they're
go
old.
back into the day when the Rolling Stones first became popular and ask those guys, the original Rolling Stones, would you go to a concert of rock and roll people? Let's just wait here for a second.
Yeah, no, I thought that was that guy who walked by us the
Yeah.
other way. Now
If
coming
you-
back,
would you
he's
go
just
to-
delivering. He's just
Would you
delivering.
go to a concert of 75-year-olds singing the same stuff? And
They
they'd
would
all
say
be, "What are you
no."
talking about?
Right,
It's my
exactly.
grandfather's age or whatever.
There's a pretty funny video. You know that Maroon 5 song,
Here's
that
Marie.
moves
Marie's
like Jagger? Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, they have in the beginning of it an interview with an incredibly young. He's 20.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, how long you called the Rolling Stones? He's like, yeah, how long you guys been doing this?
weeks.
He's like, yeah, about a year. And he's like, how much longer you think you're going to do this? He's like, if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have told you I don't think we'd be doing it now. And he's like 20.
Now, we could, I suppose, go along Murray Street.
Yeah, let's take a look and see.
But yeah, I won't say who the guy is, but there's a guy I know who likes to have these parties that he's a very wealthy guy and younger guy, and one of his best friends was Mick Jagger. And so I went to one of these parties, and it was like everywhere you looked, there was a different celebrity and people doing who knows what in the Pierre.
Pierre Hotel?
Yeah, there are apartments in there.
Huh.
I mean, this stunning apartment with the value. Forget the value of what was on the walls in the apartment was probably 50 times the value of a penthouse apartment. It was incredible stuff.
That's amazing.
30 years ago. Today, I'm not there. I'm in front of a Shake Shack
Yeah.
and having a better time.
I guess it's got to be just right around here.
It's
I mean,
further.
the engine
We've
just
got it-
shot off.
Well,
and-
we got to go across in here. This is the West Side Highway here. Now we're going to cross that. I know where it is.
Okay.
It'll be churches north-south. It'll be like a couple, 3 blocks that way.
I mean, they never told you what happened there because it was the real issue with this engine was that it was not the type of engine that is affixed to, at the time, a United Airlines 767. It was a different make, like it was a Rolls-Royce or a GE or a Pratt & Whitney or whatever, and United was not using that type of engine. So they never really, like when Trump says nobody ever got to the bottom of it, that's one of the things. Nobody explained. How the hell did that engine get there?
Well, we could tie that to the Clintons, for example. Why did Sandy Burglar go to the National Archives and stuff crap down his pants? What was he so concerned about hiding?
Well, it was something about 9/11, wasn't
Exactly. It was as the 9/11 Commission was doing its work, and this
Right.
was a vital piece of evidence. Now, we know from multiple reports that
it?
this
Now
is...
it's raining.
Yeah. From one of Hillary Clinton's stocks and trade, however you say,
We've never tried this before, Charles.
to see if it works.
Yeah, I don't want to hit you in the face with
Don't
the
worry.
umbrella.
No, you won't. I'll hit you, but You don't have to hit me.
Okay, there we go.
Anyway, so one of her stocks in trade is to take a crucial piece of evidence and hide it.
Destroy it.
Like, you know, her emails, or you name
The
it.
underwear from the rapist of the 9-year-old. She laughed about that.
Yeah, or during the Watergate hearing, there was a vital precedent of one copy of this opinion. She hid it, and she got kicked off the team for that.
But it worked. It was hidden. No, that's the deal. I mean, and by the way, also, you've mentioned the Bojinka plot,
Right.
and what was that guy's name? Ramzi Youssef.
Right.
See, I don't believe all of that. I think that was a distraction, a limited hangout. Ramzi Youssef's a real guy. Yeah, he's stuck in jail, sure.
Well, it's inarguable that they went after in '93, that they tried to take the World Trade Center down once and failed, right? That's inarguable.
Well, what's inarguable is that he rented a van, they arrested him, there was an explosion in there. How he got the van, who told him to put the bombs in the van. You know, since then we've learned all this stuff about what the FBI does and how it does it. You guys got to stop. Well, we got 20. We've learned what the FBI does as far as kidnapping Gretchen Whitmer and whatnot. How do we know what they do with
Well, put it differently.
Ramzi Youssef?
It's inarguable that Islamist militants occupied Mecca in 1979. That's we're not going to have a big debate about that, are we? Right? I mean, that did happen.
Was that when they killed Anwar Sadat?
There was a different, I don't know if it was precisely then, but it was, the radicals were getting ever more radical, and it culminated in this occupation of Mecca, and the Islamists had control of it for a period of time, and it wasn't the Saudi Arabian military that liberated it, it was the French Foreign Legion that
Oh yeah,
brought
you
it,
told me about
right? And so, my understanding, again, I'm not...
That sounds pretty wild. That had to be a hell of a weekend.
Yeah. Well, it was in a climate, and you know, we're probably in a zone now where we're going to be wishing for the good old the bad old Carter days. I was saying that to you on the phone. I mean, things are so fucked up now that, by comparison, Carter's years may seem okay in another year from now. But
You could get Mussolini, and it might be an improvement.
yeah, you get Pete Buttigieg. Mussolini made the trains run on time. Pete Buttigieg renamed them.
Right.
Got rid of all those racist rails.
Now wait a minute. Is this guy on his way to meet the dude with the iMac?
I guess.
What has he got?
Mirror.
Oh,
It's the man in the mirror.
he's
Man with a
looking
mirror.
at the man in
Yeah, I think
the
this is 1 block away from church.
That engine went
Yeah,
flying.
Greenwich. Next one, yeah, well, I mean, at speed.
Well, 180 miles an hour. Here's Greenwich.
Next one up.
So let's see. Where are we relative to the building here?
Pretty far away.
Right, but it was 800 feet in the air and going 500 miles an hour.
Good. Guy.
You see the light, right? Charles, we got
What?
just a plethora of jackasses.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, reiterate for people, tonight at 8 o'clock will be the world premiere of a new interview with John Kiriakou, former CIA officer and whistleblower on Abu Ghraib torture. I challenged some of John's beliefs on 9/11, not in a antagonistic way, because I've come to appreciate and respect John. And what I'm trying to do, Charles, is to unravel this mystery of why, like, people have this in their own family, people that they trust and love who are
Right.
believing things that perhaps we don't believe. And I don't think that people in my own family, and I don't think that people think that people in their families are working for the CIA and trying to lie to them. So I'm trying to unravel this psychological process where people get convinced of things and they become so dug in on things that seem so obviously not true at all.
Next one up, I think.
There's like a Toyota BRZ or whatever that thing is called.
Which?
That little sports car is made by Subaru for Toyota.
Now it's decided until we get all the way down here.
Did our audio switch to crap again? No, it's good. It's tough when I can't monitor it. I hope these Swedish guys get back from vacation soon, Charles.
This guy may back up here.
Mercedes guy?
Yeah, I think that is, yeah, he's probably going to back up. Look at this, the Mercedes thing comes out.
Yeah, he's also parked in the crosswalk,
See?
backing up. Well, that's the gas tank.
Why does it come out?
I don't know, but this person obviously doesn't know what they're doing. It comes out because it's supposed to be pushed, and it's not.
And the car is not well maintained, making that sound, right?
Well,
take the side of it
you
off.
got to close the gas cap, or he's not going to have proper pressure in the. Eventually, it will cause the engine to stop.
Yeah.
Here's flash dancers, Charles. I've seen the ad for this painted on a building somewhere. I didn't realize that was it.
Right. Is this person
Girl,
work there?
I was going to say, coming home from work, and here's the garbage. Oh my God! Look at that. They have an outdoor section at Flash Dancers.
No, that's the neighboring pub.
Do you have to wear a gas mask when you get a lap dance? A face mask when you wear?
No, that's the neighboring
VIP
pub
room?
that says Monk or something.
Oh, is it?
That's
Yeah,
pretty
the
odd.
monks go to the strip club.
That's pretty odd. Next to a strip club, I think I'll open a restaurant called Monk.
That's crazy.
That's not funny. So yeah, here's church over here. Very far away, Church in Murray.
That's where they found it. Let's see if we can see a straight shot to the building from here. Charles, this is
that
one
your
of the
screenshot?
last remaining 21st century 3D umbrellas.
Wow.
Really looks like it's coming at you, doesn't it?
It sure does. It's in 3D. Right?
Well,
By
yes.
definition.
What else did we want to discuss today? What's going to happen tomorrow with...
We have the election in Sweden today. The results are probably known.
right.
It'll be interesting to see just how much the local population has rebelled against the lunatics. in
We
that
haven't heard
country.
anything from Biljana in a while.
Yeah. Well, I think she just told me she was having trouble with her dog. It was Blanca Blanca. So right here, this is
So where's the building? There's 33.
right there.
Oh yeah, right there to the left. So we're not that far.
It was pretty far.
Yeah, but I mean, for a thing going 500 miles an hour from 800 feet up, and it just landed right over here. It landed, I think, either here or over there, because it's kind of right next to a light post in the picture.
All right.
Let's see, maybe over here.
You would think that if it landed here, it would leave quite a hole.
Well, I mean, you know, that was 20 years ago. This could be different sidewalk even.
Am I standing in your shot? Sorry.
No, you are the shot. Well,
So there's that issue. Then there's the issue of, you know, how badly does the European market suck?
pretty bad.
And it's going to be pretty. I think the suckage is going to be monumental. Because when Trump said, I mean, I love it when these supposed, you know, European effete intellectual snobs and John Kerry and all those people, Trump's dependent on Russian oil and gas, and Europeans say, we do this because we get paid off. You
They
know?
didn't say that.
I know. But there's no smart reason. Nobody with a choice would say, I want to have 55% of the stuff that is essential for running my economy sourced
Depend
by
on somebody else.
by a rival/enemy. You know, nobody's going to say that's a smart idea.
But what about taking someone that easily could be a friend and making them an enemy?
All right.
Like,
Exactly.
why was that done? It makes no sense.
Well, again, if you're going to sell a lot of military equipment, you got Trump. Who did the U.S. exit? Called All God Stand By Me. He positioned that exit to be done properly, and instead, Malarkey Man bungled it with his full idiots.
Malarkey. That's a new superhero, Charles. Joe Biden is Malarkey Man.
That's right. And he doesn't even know it. And then you've got, you know, the situation in Iraq, which was also disgusting, that all this blood and treasures shed there, and we're persona non grata. It's likely they're going to occupy our embassy there too.
What do you mean? Is that happening now?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
There's a possibility of that.
I mean, isn't there top secret stuff in there?
Who knows? I mean, they're probably just, putting it up on the net. You give $5 to the Biden campaign and you get nuclear secrets. I'm making that up.
Look at that. What is DC 37 Health Center? Isn't that
Probably
weird?
a union. It's probably some union.
Strange.
But there's the city building, right?
Well, City Hall is quite...
no, but isn't that like the administration
some
building?
sort of, city government building. City Hall is across the street to the right
City
over there.
lack of government building?
Yeah. They got
Yeah.
to charge Eric Adams' electric Mustang there. Hey, actually, that was plugged in. I don't think it's his, but there was a Mach-E Mustang plugged in. We should tell them not to plug it in. They're wasting electricity.
There's always a strong plan. You got a car, $25,000. We'll subsidize your purchase of a $70,000 car that we don't want you to use.
Right.
10 of them. But just don't use them.
So I told you this, but I haven't said it on the air. There was found some sort of filing with the state of Texas where apparently Elon Musk is going to create a lithium refining thing. Hang on just a second. I feel like our audio is not. The audio is not what we want. I don't know why is this so when it wants to work and it's not frequent.
Pickle.
It is. I'm annoyed.
Pickle.
I think it's got to do with the Bluetooth thing failing because it interacts with it and it's not working. This Bluetooth thing is not working properly. Check, 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 check. Now I can hear it. All right, we're back finally.
If you can shoot this guy, maybe. I mean, this is all over the city now for all the money that's being spent on the problem. You see this all over the place. And it's just, I mean, how tough would it be to have however many people are people in the Department of the Home protect the homeless? It's called. Pick a number. I don't know if it's the 100 worst cases, the 1,000 worst cases, whatever the number is. Just pick a number and go systematically through the city. We people hear the same places all the time.
Well, the other thing is,
Pakistan Tea House.
I don't know, how could that possibly fail? He's like, Charles, I have an excellent idea. Pakistan Tea House.
Next to the Turkish.
The pitch is not going well.
I'm sure there
I think
is.
we've seen that jackass before with his kid on the sidewalk with
sure.
a scooter.
Downtown men's shoes, not men's, men's shoes.
They're made out of men. Well, I forgot what I was going to say.
But you were asking what's going to happen the week ahead. So the first talk about what we lot that in the energy industry. I mean, you and I get on the phone in the morning of the broadcast and decide on a topic and a poster, and because you're so good at it and the art department's so good at it, you can get the thing up and running, and we can do a show with maybe as little as an hour notice, sometimes even less, depending on where we're going to meet. And in the energy business, not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, even Exxon, or maybe especially Exxon and the Husky companies, you can't just say, well, we've got all the power that we were going to generate from using nuclear reactors. We're going to shut that down. That's 30% of the country.
Yeah.
And then you guys just replace it. You know, you're the oil people. You just do that. You can't do that.
Well, not only that, they want to use alternative things that don't produce as much energy and
really, this Yellen, I mean, I don't know where what turnip truck they found her on, but she was up making another insane statement saying, the virtue of this spending plan is we will eliminate fossil fuels and rely on wind and sun. And you're like, what are you talking about? You know, maybe for one person, yes.
that sounds Japanese, Charles.
I guess, but you know, maybe one or two people you can do it that way, but for an entire nation, there's no way you can do that. And as Trump was right in saying, wind energy is not reliable, nor is solar energy that reliable. But more to the point, the investment required even if you thought you could do it, the capital investment, getting through regulations,
That's
the
absolutely
distribution,
true. Very high.
You're talking about 30 years, maybe.
Yes. And just to expand on the not reliable, I think because it's sometimes unfairly stated, what it is they don't produce energy constantly. A nuclear plant can run 24/7.
Right.
Wind only works when it's windy. Solar only works when the sun is out.
You got to store it.
And you got to store it, that's right. And so the thing I was talking about was, right, somebody found this thing that Elon Musk is building a lithium plant that's going to extract lithium from the Gulf of Mexico and desalinate the water to create drinking water and irrigation water and stuff, which they need, and extract lithium from there. And there's a variety of different emerging technologies for extracting lithium from seawater that are far less damaging to the environment. Right now, everybody keeps talking about where the most lithium is and blah, blah, blah. And I think they're talking about lithium that's trapped underground that would require lots of really energy-intensive mining and processing and refining. And the most lithium today is produced in Costa Rica through these evaporation pools that take months and months and months to evaporate and leave all of this brine that creates environmental problems where the brine is. So this sounds like a very good idea if Elon Musk or Tesla or whatever can put that together to do that.
Right, but even so, when the IAEA, and I think there's other bodies, put together these historical breakdowns of sources of energy, costs of energy by type, and forecasts. And
Yeah, it's years.
By year, yeah, and they show you, I mean, it's very interesting stuff if you have anything to do by the,
She was pretty.
not ready for primetime players.
But it's going to take years to develop that
Decades.
stuff.
And any time, the way this works, anytime you allow a meathead like Buttigieg and the other meathead like Granholm in the United States a say over how the money gets spent, and then on top of the senior meatheads, you have 50 state level meatheads. And then you
Deputy meatheads.
well, the state level meatheads and the locality meatheads, somebody always finds a way of holding the project up.
Huh.
And at least in this country. That's one of the reasons, for example.
Oh, sorry. I thought I knew that person, and I was looking at them and almost crashed into you ladies. Sorry. That was stupid.
That's all right.
I could have
Walter
sworn.
Mitty.
I could have sworn that must have been like her mother or something. That looked exactly like somebody I went to high school with.
Jason's Walter Mitty moment.
Either that or she's gotten really old.
Probably that. There you have a Ukraine flag at your favorite place.
Huh. I do like that place.
Careful. Sucks Ida.
So there's been a lot of news that Ukraine is like the war is turning and they're going to win and Russia's retreating. That doesn't sound accurate to me.
I don't know, but as they say, you know, there is very contemporaneous war reporting. Who knows what's really true? You may not even know if you're there on the ground.
Well,
But
I think they're
your
there.
point. Yeah, I take your point. But just if I just finish the energy stuff.
Sure.
So they're saying that across Europe and maybe here in the U.S. as well, that electricity bills are going to soar. And
Yeah,
when I say
already
soar,
double and triple.
double, 10 times.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And so that's a huge problem. And bankrupt governments can't subsidize that by borrowing money that they really shouldn't borrow in the first place.
Right.
So we're going to have a lot of turbulence in financial and commodity markets this coming week. And that turbulence is only going to increase through the balance of the year.
Yeah.
And each day it gets colder, and at least in the northern hemisphere, and each day Putin is going to strengthen his demands or increase his demands. He's not going to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, you know what?
Now that we're winning and making so much money,
Yeah.
I'll do what you want."
I'm not a Biden. You know, I'm going to take advantage of this. Now look at this. What is this? This is community outreach.
Delivering food or something. Actually, I meant to tell you when I was walking over to meet you today, there was one of these like merchant fleet, or remember those trucks? It's an Amazon delivery truck that was just packed up with Amazon packages sitting open on the street, and then around the corner was like 5 guys smoking weed.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, everybody's Amazon stuff is right here about to get stolen, and these dudes are getting high.
I know, you see that all over the city.
Pretty irresponsible. And also, where the hell is my package, Amazon?
Right.
You got enough time to be smoking weed, bring that package. So Charles, we're getting close to battery death. We've got about 10 minutes here. I want to make sure people who are with us right now are aware of the 9/11 special that I'll be broadcasting tonight. It's going to be coming on at 8 p.m. Eastern, and people will be able to see it on subscribestar.com. That we should wait. Subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth or patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. It is about an hour and 10-minute interview with former CIA officer John Kiriakou, and we're going to talk all about 9/11 and what he knew inside the CIA at the time.
But he can't really talk about what he knew, right?
Well, things that are declassified he can, and see, I don't want to reveal what what I learned from speaking to John, but you know, I've become. I don't like it when, you know, there's a guest. I've tried to stop myself from doing this. When I see somebody on somebody else's show and they say something that I absolutely disagree with, I want to hopefully get past this knee-jerk reaction of saying, oh, well, that person's definitely a liar.
Right. Well, if we just veer back because there's limited time.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton has been in the news a lot, raising her mug. She was on the Sunday talk shows and saying just the weirdest stuff.
Like what?
Well, she said today that we need to protect our democracy from domestic extremists.
Yeah, that's what they're getting ready for.
Right, so you have that.
Anybody who doesn't agree with them is a domestic extremist.
And then Joe Hoft has something on Gateway Public where he's claiming that Ray personally reviewed some Gateway articles, and on the basis of one or more of them, amped up pre-January 6th, used the Gateway reporting to clamp down more on people who are heading towards the January 6th event. And yeah, I don't know if that's true or false. I think Joe is a pretty careful guy. But the direction we're in now, where we've meekly accepted the idea that it's okay to have a federal police force with the considerable powers that they
do whatever
have,
it wants.
whatever, not subject to review. At the same point, you know, Trump claims in his lawsuit, and maybe it was poorly constructed, that there was a valid RICO case against Hillary Clinton and a bunch of other people. It gets thrown out, and somebody was explaining to me that one of the main arguments was that Trump is no longer president, so the case is moot.
Nah, that's not why. It was because I think the statute of limitations was not there.
Maybe, but my point is that the balance between the tools that our police force has
against us,
and its track record, which is abysmal in protecting us,
and being honest with us,
right?
Yeah, it's just totally made to attack you.
Is not being brought to account, certainly by anybody in the mainstream press, because they're agents, I would argue, and they benefit from their cozy relationships with the people they should either be investigating or reporting about. Let's not run for this.
No.
This, by the way, is the intersection where a friend of mine was hit. Nearly got killed. Right in
we
there.
don't want to recreate that.
No. And he was a big, fit guy.
Yeah, but a car doesn't care about that.
No, I know. I mean, he's lucky he's alive. I mean, he was hit hard. He was jogging with headphones on, which is not a good idea. And he didn't see the car turning at high speed into him.
Yeah, that's why these bikes are very dangerous. There's a lot going on any given moment in New York City, and every edition of a fast-moving object that's not paying attention, that doesn't care what you're doing, that isn't following the lights.
Yeah.
It's really dangerous, and people are going to get hurt.
But the challenge is we've got to wait for the
yeah, it's a lot of lights.
Yeah.
So, well, all right, let's just see if we maybe have some comments in the last moments of the show here, if people want to ask questions or say anything.
The election is rushing towards us. There's a lot of happy talk. Here we go. A lot of happy talk from the mainstream about how the Democrats are in better shape than everybody thought. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
And especially the Democrats' candidate for Senate in South Carolina, a black woman was caught on tape talking about how you need to keep these people down.
Was that Project Veritas?
I don't know if it's Veritas or who caught him, but I think the real issue between now and the election is will Jay Powell keep interest rates rising or at the current level? Will there be signs that inflation is under control or not? And if inflation does not credibly subside, not the CPI number, but what you see in the supermarket and the gas pump, if interest rates go up, if mortgage rates go up, if bankruptcies increase, then the economic debacles and any attendant foreign policy debacles are going to crush the Democrats. It's a fiction to think that the party in power is going to do very well with this track record. It's just not going to happen. So that's the big between now and then. The other thing to talk about, which is actually proving that there is an almighty power, the Clintons have the Clinton Grifter Initiative on the 19th and 20th
Right.
in September here in New York. And
Got preempted by the Queen.
and the people around King Charles, I guess, decided to hold the funeral ceremony in London on the 19th. So many of the people who would otherwise be at the Clinton Grifter Initiative will certainly not be able to attend it in person.
Right.
And I don't think they're going to reschedule the Clinton Grifter Initiative, although they might.
We'll just do it on Zoom or something.
It's not the same. There's no point in going to. I stopped even responding to the Bloomberg conference invitations I get because the last thing I'm going to do is spend a day on a Zoom call. Right? I don't like doing it for 15 minutes
Right.
a day. So that's, if anything good comes out of the Queen's death, that could be one good thing, that the Clinton Grifter Initiative will be smashed into smithereens.
It's very difficult to do this with an umbrella in hand.
But you're Superman, Jason.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure we got those thoughts out there.
Yeah.
The other thing quickly is that Bannon claims a large number of people were raided.
35.
35, or some say as many as 50. And again, if Trump had done this to
yeah.
Obama,
Which he should have, by the way. He would have been justified.
but had he done it,
No,
you
they
know, right before the 2020 election,
never would that have.
you know, I mean, what would there would be riots in the streets. We saw the riots in 2018 and 2020. Obviously, in Israel. Oh no, from a motorcycle.
Who wants that? He's singing. Oh, those girls are at the club now.
Yeah,
Wow. You know, one unrelated item, Charles. I don't know if you saw this, but Steve Jobs' daughter tweeted out that the iPhone 14 is the same as the iPhone 13. Strange that she would choose to do that. I got to imagine she benefits from increasing Apple stock price.
I guess. Young people with too much money, just young people, period,
Sort of do things that aren't
they
that
do
smart.
crazy, stupid things.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at an hour 43, so definitely the battery's
All
going
right.
to die at any moment.
We
I
don't
hope
want that.
people will tune in tonight on subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth and patreon.com/crowdsource the truth for a very special world premiere 9/11 special tonight. Also had the architects and the lawyers committee for 9/11 inquiry just the other day. Very good interview with Richard Gage and Barbara Honegger and members of the lawyers committee. So people can check that out. Thanks so much to the sponsors that make the show possible. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a great Sunday. And condolences to anyone who lost anyone on September 11th. Have a good night, everybody.